Log recording, 8:04 in the evening. Still 17th of February, 2023, Friday night. We were John C. Risman, California. Spiritual experiences. I was watching Star Trek Voyager. It was a season 5 episode, or season 4, I think. And, sorry, it was season 4. The Omega particle, actually Omega directive. The directive was regarding a unique energy particle in the universe. According to the Star Trek mythos, it was rumored to be the ultimate particle that created their universe with the Big Bang. For some, they looked at it as an energy source, but they looked like they've been devout believers, followers, thinking that anything concerning about the Omega particle would be considered divine perfection, mysterious, holy. And, watching that for several times in my lifetime. Once in a while, I'll see the series all over again. Enjoy several episodes that I liked and ignore some of the others. This particular episode was dealing with something that, well, it's something that when these episodes of different shows I watch actually do ring something out and not even realize it. Spiritual awakenings, spiritual experiences, something that touches the spirit of our soul, and we claim to be part of the infinite at that moment, that instant. And nothing is the same afterwards. Nothing is the same. Maybe people chase perfection, serenity, peace of mind a great deal. They want to get the ultimate high, the ultimate feeling of either power or sensation. They can't name it, they can't understand it, but they want it more and more. Sometimes it's either like a drug or it's something that they crave and pray and try to struggle their whole lives to get. And some people actually get it and then maybe they're worshipped or maybe they're not, or scorned at because something was granted to that particular person and didn't even realize it. So either we look at them with skeptical eyes or else we're looking at them as if they're crazy. Maybe they are. Maybe they are. Because in dealing with something beyond your own expertise, expectations, understanding, everything else is just crazy. And it is. And there's no way of getting around it. There's no way to there's no way to get a handle on a damn thing. People call it grace. You've been graced, you've been blessed, you've been touched. You've been sanctified, you've been, sometimes the list is shortened or endless. Or whatever kind of explanation to say that this happened, affected you a great deal, and now there's nothing left for you to do except whatever. however you're supposed to handle it and process it. We have our texts, different books we use to try to explain things, try to get a grasp, try to get a handle on something that's totally beyond us. Ancient stories of ancient times and how things were, and maybe the powers during that time were a lot more closer to dealing with the smaller people than having to deal with the multiples we have right now. Sometimes individual experiences are the only thing that the universe can deal with, because we've got so many to deal with at a moment's notice. So many beings that it can only handle. And while we do get these kind of experiences, we feel like we are unique in the universe. Personalities have changed. Sometimes for the good, and other times confusing, and other times we want power. Maybe some of us want clarification of it. An energy source that enters our being on a level that cannot be explained or measured. Changes our mood, changes our personality, changes our perspective, our perceptions, context, everything. And then we're supposed to be confused and conflicted by this thing because it was well beyond our understanding of what it is. But on that level that we got connected to, we know absolutely what it was. And the problem is just trying to find the adequate context to put it in. I'll say a lot of things in my videos. I'm no guru. I'm no expert in anything. Right now, I'm just trying to deal with what is and what isn't right now. Let me, give me a couple of seconds here, will you? Ouch! Trying to get you comfortable and warm, okay? I was trying to get you comfortable and warm. I'm sorry. I didn't want you to be cold. Okay? Get your tongue back inside your mouth. I'm sorry. Aw. I was just trying to make you... I'm sorry. I disturbed you. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure that you're warm enough, okay? Checking on my dog. Well, I was trying to say, because it is a topic down on a lot of people's minds that they're trying to decipher and trying to think and interpret it one way or another, that their way of thinking is the correct way and everyone else is wrong, and therefore everyone else has to be corrected. And because of our own interpretations of what our texts were from ancient times, our interpretations usually get us into trouble more and more often. Understanding how this is one way when we try to read the entire section or the surrounding sections to get a better view of it and to get a better understanding of it. That sometimes all hell breaks loose. We think we know it best. Maybe at the time it was simpler for those people to understand it, but every time it gets reinterpreted one way or another, it keeps losing whatever meaning it had back then. There's something else these days that we're really having issues over. And we keep praying for that spiritual enlightenment, the energy to cascade around us so we get a better understanding of it. In our loneliest and our lowest times, that's when we really keep screaming for it. And I didn't realize when we were having one of our better times we've already been. I never knew it. I'm no religious guru either, but I've had my experiences. Don't start looking at me like that regarding followers or worshippers or anything else like that. No. It's just in the process of trying to save my mortal life as a young age. There's a lot of things happening during that time that I still can't explain. Understand why I'm still alive. Or what I was supposed to be doing with my life. How many people have I influenced or affected one way or another that I don't even know of? How many people have I made better with my own presence? I don't know. I'm not looking for a count. I'm don't understand, and maybe I'm not supposed to understand and just leave it go and let it drop like that. But the massive one, just to save my life, had implications down the road that affected me a great deal, and maybe affected a hell of a lot of people for maybe the better or for the worse. I don't know. At least I hope I wasn't that kind of a person going out there to ruin people's lives for the fun of it because I got this experience. When you have an out-of-body experience, man, it really screws you over one way or another. I mean, interpretations of what the spiritual realm's supposed to be. Then I hear the religious gurus out there who got their doctorates in theology and everything else, and just because they're interpreting the text one way or another, or interpreting it by rote, or save or satisfy someone else's explanation for it, but whatever the hell it is, did they ever actually have the experiences? And if they did, were they trying to capitalize on it one way or another? Mine was to save my ass, and that happened. It happened. And years later, had another one. Losing my aunt, and I prayed for her. Prayed to God, as I understood him. Someone said, why don't you try to accept Jesus in your heart? I'm a young kid influenced by a lot of things, so I said, what the hell? I asked to pray, but still praying about my aunt. I'm more concerned about her than anything else that happens to me. And yes, I did get the energy surge, probably, I guess, from the divine. From God, I guess. And I guess I was reassured at that point. Even though I did feel that energy almost the same level I felt, and inside I recognized it. I did. And I felt it. And all day long I was probably on another level I didn't even realize. Mortally I was here, but connected still somehow. It faded out, but she was alright for the time. And afterwards she wasn't. and turning into a teenager, and going to YMCA camp, saying, "Why did you accept Jesus in your heart?" I really didn't think that he'd be able to deal with me in the first place. I mean, if he was the kind of people that people were around me were talking about, why would he accept a schmuck like me in the first place? Even to this time, in this date, I don't know why. He's got a high tolerance of schmucks like me. The president doesn't think I'm a schmuck. I'll probably tell him, no, I'm just a full idiot. Some things have happened in my life that sometimes I just having issues with. But I really don't like to go after people, things, animals, or anything else with a mean streak. Especially if I got bug war to deal with. I like to get these things out of here without killing these bastards. But they're here to stay, so I got to kill these bastards. I got laws, man laws, and health and human services, and God knows what else is going on. So I got to get rid of cockroaches. If they can just go out and don't come back and leave my place alone, I'll probably have another catastrophe happening afterwards. So I got to deal with these bastards, and I got to kill these sons of bitches. But if they're around me, I'm not squishing them left and right like some people would. Just smash them all over the damn place. No, the poisons are doing that anyway. Yeah, I'm a mass murderer of bugs. So I guess in that way I should be feeling guilty about it. I'm trying to. Not much. But maybe in a way I still am. But they do get into anything and everything. They are considered a health hazard. They do carry diseases and stuff like that cause people illnesses. So unfortunately, they gotta be exterminated. Regret it? I'm torn. I'm torn about it. They could just leave and don't come back. Just go outside. Do what you got to do along the grounds. Just don't come inside our houses, please. Don't come in mine. I don't want you here. I don't need you here. And you got to stay. We got food. We got water. We got warmth. 3 items these guys love to do because they love to procreate. Bug war. When I was a teenager in a YMCA camp, had the fun, had some things to do. Learn how to swim more, how to swim better. Certificate in that. Dramatic acting, got a certificate in that. Learn how to shoot. I hated that, but I got a certificate in that. The one thing I didn't get a certificate on, except try to be a decent camper. I lost all that shit a long time ago. Wish I kept it. But the one piece of article I did keep is what they call the blue rag. At the time, there was levels theoretical spirituality that you progress in the program of the YMCA. I started at the bottom, blue, and that's where I was all this time, all these years. Never went back. Never had the money to go back. Never had the time to go back. I didn't deal with my spirituality because I was busy dealing with things happening here. Grandma was still bedridden with a stroke. It was the summertime, getting close to time to go back to high school. And I guess maybe it was trying to help me out a little bit more than I expected. I know it was, what was I, 16, 17 at the time. Grandma died either 82 or 83. sometime there. Maybe it was before Grandma died. But even during that time, it was still turbulent. Mom wanted to keep me out of the house for a while. So about a week, I was someplace else. Missing Ma, dealing with a lot of strange boys, dealing with strange people I didn't want to deal with or be friends with, but I was a nice letter. I brought a couple of books. These guys like to play games like taking things away from you, taunting your ass. Eventually I got my books back. Almost came damn close to taking their ass. It's not very Christian, but boys will be boys. You don't take his stuff from this kid. But even that, for YMCA, we still had girls in the place. Different cabin. We were in our own cabin. There, the day before last day before we left. This day we're supposed to be packing our crap up, doing the last things, last events. And then during that morning, I guess, we went out. And we went along a trail, hearing the biblical verses, eyes blinded. We had blindfolds on. We had to learn how to trust people. Step, bend, step, bend, bend, step. Stop, bend, step, step, bend, step. Stop. Get to a clearing. Sit in a circle. Reach behind us for a rock. Put it in a circle. Some more biblical verses. And then prayers. A few moments of silence. I wasn't expecting anything. But I guess it was a way of humbling me and humiliating me at the same time. Lowering everything else I had. I had to learn how to trust on the outside. I had to learn how to trust the outside. I guess in a way, I felt that again in my heart. And also echoed in my soul. There's somebody upstairs, or probably somebody floating me around just saying, still got my eye on you. Scared the hell out of me. But it also changed me in more ways than I thought. I'm trying to remember. Could have been after Grandma's death. It could have been after Grandma's death. Because I was still 18. Yeah. I was basically 18 at that point. The second to 11th grade. Grandma had already been gone. Maybe it was her. It could have been. It could have been Aunt May. But it was somebody that my heart knew. Could have thought it was God or Jesus, but it could have been somebody from the family. I don't remember losing anybody else after Grandma that I really went crazy and mourned over. But if it was, what if it was? So my question to myself, how come I didn't cry? On some occasions, when I've actually had images and dreams. There had been times I wake up and I cry. Or I have the mole skin on anyway. This one. This one was different. I mean, Aunt May was one thing. Could have been Jesus, or maybe it could have been Uncle Al during that time. Before Aunt May came over to home and lived with us, before she actually lived with Grandma before she came to live with Ma, Dave, and me, she had been married and she was living up in Oakland for many years. There was a husband there named name of Al Marshall. And we'd only been up there once. Maybe overnight, I think. Maybe, I don't know. But it took us a long while trying to get up from San Fernando Valley all the way up to there, to Oakland. It's a long trip, driving. About 8 hours. So I guess maybe we found a place to sleep or something like that. I don't know. Well, I remember the house was old, Victorian, turn of the century. My aunt was a stickler. She wanted her things to be pristine. Didn't like me to get my feet on the table or anywhere else. I had to sit very carefully on the couch. Well, I'll pour out his comic books, and Dave and I tore into them. Just to keep me and David busy for hours, I guess. But I remember he was a kind man. I remember the pictures that was taken. There may have been a picture or two somewhere in the archives of him. He was a small man next to Aunt May. Aunt May was a tall lady. Tall and gaunt. She wasn't exactly the easiest person to get to know in those days. I didn't realize she was so damn mean and angry. I mean, she was a bit stern sometimes, but she became harder because she was dealing with the grief and the loss of Al, her lover, her husband, basically, of so many years. And I never knew how it hurt her. I know when I heard about Uncle Al, yeah, I heard a bit because I remember what he was like, and yeah, it made me sad. But it didn't really tear my heart apart like it did her. I didn't realize that. I couldn't have realized it. Me as a young kid trying to deal with that, and I'm supposed to understand what the pain and what the grief was all about. There was no way I could have known. There was no way I could have known during that time. She was hurting all that time. Got to a point where I think either in Los Angeles or San Diego that she moved out. But somehow, I'm trying to remember the story on this one. I'm trying to remember how and where she was because she ended up in a nursing home. And I remember a trip being taken over to that nursing home. I don't remember where it was. But I remember sitting in the corner, staring at it. She was staring at that corner. It got to the point, I think we took her out. My mother took her out. And I think she began to live with Grandma during the time for a while. Before she actually moved with Ma, Dave, and I to a house out in Arleta. where we all stayed under one roof. Ma was going to take care of her mother and a great aunt. It was, I don't know, maybe hard at first, but I know she was angry at me at times. I didn't even realize why. It wasn't anger. She was in pain. Her heart was going out sometimes, and I guess maybe she really was trying to will herself to die so she could be with Uncle Al. She was grieving that hard. I didn't hear it. I didn't see it. She kept the tears inside. She kept the pain on her face. Ma wasn't talking to us about it, neither was Grandma, and Grandma knew. I guess maybe both those ladies were trying to understand Aunt May's grief and loss. Even her own sister, which was Grandma. Both of them were born. Aunt May was the eldest. Grandma was the youngest, about 2 years. They would have conversations. Went over my head. I wasn't paying attention much to it. I should have. I should have been listening to more. Aunt May was in so much pain. She even had a hard time dealing with her own sister. Grandma knew the pain. Grandma already experienced the pain. Grandma had lost her husband of several decades. I remember his face. I'm trying to remember the name. My grandmother's name was Claire Marshall. Somewhere in the records, I've got the information somewhere. I think either his first name was named after my own biological sperm donor, but I guess Cameron also came from my grandpa that I never met. He died a year before I was born. So Grandma knew the pain. She delighted in me and David and Ma visiting her all the time. But sometimes they'd get into arguments left and right. Ma and Dave Ma would argue with Grandma. Oh, Mary Ann. Mama, will you listen? Never one time did I ever hear Grandma or Aunt May call Ma by her legal name of Ellen. It was always Mary Ann. Ma never had that name changed. She never did. She never had the opportunity to change it. There would have been too many damn records for her to do so. So, kept her legal name, but everyone called her Mary Ann because that's what she insisted. There had been times she actually had maybe a couple of documents about that one, but it was always Eleanor or Ellen Ray. Eleanor, always. But she was no Ellen, she was a Mary Ann. True and true. But Aunt May, back in the house of Arleta, God, was it 10 or 11 years old? I'm crawling up on her lap. And she was so dour looking at me with those painful eyes. There was a lot of pain. Turned her frown really deep. Held her by 2 hands on her face. She was starting to tear up. I don't care how mean you are. I still love you. Oh God, that's when it came out. That's why she cried. That's why she cried. She cried. It was as if maybe somehow Uncle Al was right next to her, trying to tell her something through me. Probably I didn't realize. It's like telling her, May, it's alright. It's alright. I guess in a way, those memories, as hurtful and painful as they may be, the most cherished things to have in my lifetime. Because I'm remembering those times as a kid, but I'm lucky I'm a different perspective. Aunt May had her pain released, finally, because she knew something I did, that's for sure. Everything was okay. It was okay to love again. It was okay to feel again. Okay to be okay. I guess maybe she was hating God or something like that. With that anger for taking Uncle Al away. And the thing is, I never knew why. Maybe heart attack I can understand. It wasn't a stroke. Maybe a heart attack did him in. I couldn't go to Uncle Al's funeral. But when Aunt May died, yeah, that's the thing we went to. That's the thing we went to. David tried to get leave regarding this, but he couldn't. Things happening in the Navy, either by his actions or inactions or something else in the Navy, prevented him from coming back home for emergency funeral leave. And he didn't hear about it until it was way too late. He was already pissed off at the Navy at that point. But it's like when Grandma had the stroke and Ma was having problems. That's when he decided he was going to get the hell out of Dodge. About a year afterwards, goes back in the Navy, does his break time, gets out of bad conduct. But at least he was out when Grandma died. Stayed with us till she passed. It was hard. It was very, very hard. I wish I had better news of what spirituality meant. I know there have been times I actually felt like if there was bliss, I'd feel it. Maybe it'd be a smile on the face or just a calmness. I'm not crying. I'm not triggered. I feel warm. I don't feel the pain. I'm feeling okay. I'm feeling okay. I don't have to stress. I don't have to freak. I don't have to do anything. Just be in that moment. Not worry about what happens tomorrow or the next minute. Just 1 minute. Just 1 minute. In that one moment of time and space. I don't have to feel the energy or the serenity. Actually, I don't. I didn't feel all that energy, except maybe diluted a little bit, just to get me calm, peaceful enough, and just, I'm okay. I don't have to worry. I don't have to fear. I don't have to kill myself with guilt at this point. Knowing that my family out there is still watching. I may sometimes get an occasional dream with them every once in a while, just to let me know that I'm not forgotten. But there have been things in my life that happened that, I kept thinking I'm going to be screwed. And maybe they haven't been. Maybe it was done for a reason, maybe not, I don't know. Just have to keep relaxing. I just have to keep just relax, let go, I guess. Been triggered too many damn times. Watching something about spiritual perfection. Spiritual epiphanies are scary at first, but after a while, just go with the flow. Go with the flow. Yeah, I guess that's about it for right now. I guess that's about it.